I just finished playing every Stormgate campaign mission on Brutal. I got every single achievement the game has to offer. I played 200 games of multiplayer on top of the 600 hours of multiplayer I have on previous patches, and I can finally give you guys my comprehensive and thorough Stormgate review. It sucked. Imagine, there you are, ready to play the brand new campaign for the next generational RTS game Stormgate. So you download the game, you got your Mountain Dew and your Doritos ready to go, and you jump on in. You begin an epic journey of fighting to save planet Earth from an evil alien species called the Infernals. And after days of fighting and conquering and building up, you finally get to the final mission of the game, the creme de la creme, the climax. Everything comes down to this final fight, this one moment. You build up your army. You locate the big bad final boss, your Ganondorf, your Bowser, your Thanos, if you would. And you call everybody together because it's time to fight.
Avengers! Assemble.
And you charge into battle. Let's fucking go! These absolute clowns, instead of putting a final boss fight in their game, put up a static victory screen image and then play the boss dying in a cutscene after. And I truly wasn't even expecting to be back so early doing another review, but I did say I would wait until Stormgate was released. And I mean, the campaign is released. They're calling it released. It's a product. You pay money for it. So here I am. I'm going to do a review on it. And what really set me off was the CEO of Frost Giant arguing with a disappointed fan that felt scammed, arguing that Stormgate was actually an 8 out of 10. And although I do understand the desire to use a word like scam here, I myself have felt like using it just when I got angry enough at the game. I think it's important for me to say, and I think for all of us to kind of agree with, that it wasn't a scam. It was a big letdown, and it definitely was not an 8 out of 10, but it's not a scam. And I do understand like the CEO kind of using CEO language on LinkedIn to kind of like, make the game seem like it's in a better spot than it is, to, get additional funding so they can do whatever they need to do. But this wasn't like the CEO talking to investors. This is just the CEO arguing with a disappointed fan. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like the first step in solving a problem is recognizing you have one. And Stormgate has problems. At its absolute best, I would give Stormgate's multiplayer a 6 out of 10 and its campaign a 5 out of 10. Stormgate's campaign launched with audio bugs, gameplay bugs, mislabeled achievements, boring and unoriginal dialogue and storytelling, missions so easy that you barely had to play to beat them, even on the hardest difficulty, and just one of the most disappointing endings that I've played in a video game ever. It just felt like a cheap, knockoff, unpolished version of SC2. And when I'm giving you guys my rating, when I'm giving you that final number out of 10, what I'm giving you, you need to know, is just a rating out of 10 of how much fun I had while playing. Is 6 out of 10 necessarily bad? Not really. Would you rather have 6 out of 10 sex or no sex at all? But that's not really the point. The point is, why get sloppy sex from someone who's going to make you do all the work, roll over in bed, and then pretend it was an 8 out of 10, when you could just go get a perfect 10 out of 10 all along? Like, then that's what I would give SC2's campaign, by the way, a perfect 10 out of 10. Don't just take my word for it, guys. Like, there are plenty of other RTS veterans that have been playing RTS games just as long as me who are giving their reviews, maybe even more in-depth than this one, in talking about different parts of the game. So definitely go around if you're interested and find varying opinions. But this is just going to be my own take on what I would do to make the game actually good enough to be considered an 8 out of 10. And even more important than just content creator reviews like my own before I get going here, and something that I've told everybody that's come into my chat and asked me my opinion so far, is that you guys should just try it on your own. Like, It's a free to play game. Like there's a couple campaign missions for free, I'm pretty sure. Just give it a try. Like if you had the interest and time to click on my Twitch stream or on this video, then you probably have the interest and time to just give the game like 30 minutes. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't like it, then no big loss, right? And I think that's a fair thing to say, but what you guys need to know is that that's not really what people are coming into my chat and asking me directly about. My followers know that I've been playing RTS games since basically the year 2000. What they really want to know is tomorrow, when I'm done playing Stormgate, am I going to keep playing Stormgate or am I going to go back to SC2? Is Stormgate more fun than SC2? And it's just not. SC2 just feels better still. Like when I give commands in SC2, the commands go off. When I tell an SCV to build something, it builds something. When I tell units to attack something, they attack. When I connect to a server that's 5 hours away from where I live, I don't lag. It's perfectly smooth the whole time. It's just so much better. And to explain this even more for you guys in terms of just like APM in StarCraft 2. So in StarCraft 2, I have about 350 actions per minute on average as a Grandmaster player. So obviously that's very high, but that's kind of like what makes me a Grandmaster player is that I'm able to play fast and all of my commands are kind of working fluently at the same speed that my brain is, so that my brain is never like working faster than the game in front of me, right? And as I'll show you in a moment, there are bugs in Stormgate that make you double click things all the time, and which in turn makes you feel like you need to just double click everything because you're just constantly babysitting every aspect of the game. Like you're constantly double checking to make sure your building's built, like I said, and you're double checking to make sure that your unit's attacked. You're double checking to make sure your upgrades research. You're just double checking everything. So you take that 350 APM that you started with and you just have to cut it in half. Because if you're double clicking something, then you're literally taking twice the amount of APM to do a single task. And I love the fast car metaphor because SC2 feels like you're driving a fast car, a 350 mile per hour fast car. And the second you sit in that Stormgate car, it's like immediately it just pulls you back and you're going half the speed and you just can't use your full potential and it just feels crappy. So to explain to you guys why SC2 does feel like that faster car, I made a list while I was playing my 200 games of Stormgate, a list of all the things that made the game feel slow or crappy to me, and I broke it down into the top 10 things. And we're going to go over those top 10 things right now, rapid fire style, in comparison between Stormgate and SC2. Problem number one is that in Stormgate, when you give a command to build something and then rally that worker back to the mineral field, for some reason, the rally points, like the actual physical green line, just disappears when the SCV gets to build. So if you look on the right here, the second the SCV goes to the barracks in Stormgate, it disappears. The line will just boop. And that's really frustrating because you have to now double click every single time you want to build something or any structure in Stormgate, or else you're just going to be constantly guessing whether or not it's actually rallied to go back and mine. Problem number two is when I use Control and Shift together to add buildings to a hotkey, it actually deletes the buildings in Stormgate, whereas in SC2, it actually adds it to the hotkey. So as you can see on the left, when I hold Control and Shift and add all the barracks to the original hotkey, it just deletes the new barracks. And this is obviously incredibly frustrating because once again, when you're going around hotkeying things quickly, like you just have to keep double checking to make sure things hotkeyed, and it's just another layer of things to do constantly. Number three is not going to come as a surprise to you guys since everybody's been complaining about this since basically Stormgate came out, and it's that you still can't build multiple barracks by selecting multiple SCVs or servos in Stormgate. Like for some reason in Stormgate, they're still forcing you to use like their inbuilt like quick build menu thing. Or you would have to like select each servos individually and build each barracks individually, which takes 4 times as long to do. And it's just, it goes with the theme. Like you just have to add more clicks and more APM to do things in Stormgate, and it slows you down. And I don't have a clip for this next one because it's kind of one of the more controversial bugs that not everybody experienced, but those of us who did experience, like absolutely, were just living in horror. And that bug is that every once in a while, your inputs get dropped. So if you're giving an A move command, every once in a while, the A move command gets dropped, and instead of attacking the opponent's army, your units will just start walking towards the opponent, trying to give them a hug instead of firing their guns. And this is just like, it's been in the game for like the first 2 weeks of the launch. It could be fixed by now, by the time this video comes out, but just having that bug in your game for the launch of your campaign was just like, it was just one of the worst experiences and one of the worst parts of playing it. Number five is probably the most important point to me, and it's that just the first 3 minutes of any Stormgate match is just incredibly boring on average. For some reason, in the last patch, I guess because the units were annoying to deal with, they were just deleted the scouting units, like the Dog Scout and the Infernal Scout. They just deleted them, which I guess is okay, but it's like that was like one of the only things I had to click on in the early game, other than like microing against the creep camps. But they also removed the creep camps and they replaced them with Stormgates. And it's like I like those decisions, but at the same time, like those are the only things that I had to do in the first 3 minutes. Like now you just literally sit here, you build up, you wait to expand right away. Everybody's like fast expanding on the ladder, and you're just waiting for the first Stormgate to appear 3 minutes in the game. And it's just like really kind of boring to me. Like at least give me something to click on, anything. Like even if it's as simple as like an SC2 where you can micro on the mineral fields with your SCV. Like you can't even do that in this game because there's only one mineral field. So it's like there's really is just nothing to do in the first couple minutes, and I really would appreciate just any amount of gameplay here. Number six is really simple to me, and it's just really that you cannot adjust the size of the mouse cursor in Stormgate for some just unknown reason, and the default size is basically the size of the moon. Just look at this thing; it's so massive. Like, just give me the option to move the slider up and down, or just at least make the defaults a little bit smaller. Like it literally it feels like I'm playing a video game made for like a 6-year-old who's playing a computer game for the first time and can't find the cursor. Like, oh my god. Number seven, and this is probably the most questionable thing that I just can't believe they didn't notice, but literally every time you build a worker in Stormgate, there's a delay between the time it takes the worker to build and then the time it takes that worker in the top left to go up by one. And also, every time you build a worker, the idle worker icon lights up. And none of these things are in sync right now. So if you look, when you build an SCV, like a couple frames later, the idle SCV icon lights up, and then another couple frames later, the worker count number gets updated. And it's just like, building SCVs quickly or building servos quickly in this game is just so frustrating because you have to constantly wait and see like how many workers did I build actually, because you don't really know until that number updates, and it's just unbelievable. This next one is going to trigger the Protos players, and in all fairness, I do think Protos deserves this as well, but like there's no gate mechanic in Stormgate for some reason, and it just really makes me sad. Like I hate every time you move out, you just have to like put a unit in the wall, or else you're just going to risk having some units come in. Like there should really be a gate mechanic. Like everybody knows Age of Empires did it best, like, but SC2, like obviously just the depot is better than nothing. Even though the depot has its own set of problems, like I'd much prefer just literally any type of gate mechanic. And it's such a big deal for me in SC2 that like when I play Protoss, like I understand the frustration, and that's why it's making my Stormgate list here, because this is something that should absolutely be in your game. Like the average new player wants to use the all units hotkey, and if you just make them do this, like it just completely negates the all units hotkey. Like you just can't use it anymore. And yeah, that's pretty sad to me. And this next one is going to be about the resources, and specifically the gas compared to the therium here. And I just still do not understand how the gas in Stormgate works. Like I don't understand why some of these things are glowing green. I don't understand how much extra you get, or like how long they glow green for, or like when they stop glowing green, or anything about this. I don't know anything. And it's like, it's so clear in SC2. Like when you have too many workers on the gas, it'll tell you. Like it'll, and even if it wasn't for the number on top of the geyser, like you could clearly see like a worker not mining. And it's like in Stormgate, it's just so hard to tell like what's going on here. And I just do not understand this resource still. It's like, even the main minerals I can complain about, like I mentioned earlier, there's only one mineral patch, which is always weird because any amount of AoE damage on your mineral field will just kill every single worker immediately. Like that's why in SC2 you have multiple mineral fields almost, because you don't want like a Widow Mine drop to just kill everything instantaneously. So like I just really think that they need to better describe like what this actually is and what it does. And the final thing on my list here, which is definitely not going to surprise anybody, is just unit readability. Like, I cannot tell the difference between units in large fights. I can't tell how many of each unit's here. I can't tell who's winning. Like, in this specific fight that I have on the screen, was from one of my ladder games, and it's like in this fight I thought I was losing at first, like badly, and then I'm like getting ready to almost retreat, and then I like have a second look and I'm just like dominating. And it's just like it's so incredibly hard. And this is just like one example, but like basically every unit comp, it's really hard to tell what units are in there. It's hard to tell how many units there are, and it's just like it needs a lot of work with the coloring. Like I'm not an expert on what makes SC2 more readable, but it's just more readable. And it's up to them to like figure out how to fix this, because this is honestly one of the bigger complaints that I've just seen from the average person, because like it's just so apparent, even on the highest graphics, the lowest graphics, doesn't matter what settings you choose, like it's just really hard to tell units apart. So there's my list, guys. And yeah, I'm sure I could have kept going with it, but I did just break it down into that top 10, because I do think like the more down the list you go, the more personal in taste it can get. So I think just for the sake of the YouTube video, like the top 10 is enough to satisfy me here. And you know what, guys? If they did fix everything on my list and, polish the game more, it could absolutely be a 7 or even an 8 out of 10 multiplayer. There's a lot of good things in Stormgate. There's a lot of fun units. Like at the end of the day, they did just try to copy SC2, which is one of the funnest games of all time to me. And they did hit a little bit. They added some cool features that I really like. I love the line move command thing they added. I love the auto hotkeys. I think there's some legitimate good additions to RTS in here. But all the stuff I listed just completely overshadows all of the good. And it's very sad, but it's true. So yeah, I'll say it. I did have a little fun playing Stormgate. One of the things that I love to play about Stormgate, or just any crappy movie that I've seen, or just any crappy game, is to just play it and watch it and just make jokes about it. It's what I love to do. What I didn't really like was just like the non-stop parade of just this diehard Stormgate copium enthusiasts that would just come into my chat every day and just argue with literally every single critique that would come out of my mouth, telling me that I'm just being negative for no reason and that I shouldn't play the game if I'm not having fun. Some of you need to learn that there is beauty and fun to be had in crappy things in life. Like there's nothing better than watching a shitty movie and then just making fun of the shitty movie. And I didn't just hate Stormgate just to hate Stormgate. I wasn't being negative to be negative. I was honestly just giving my experience and my opinion while I was playing the game every day. And if you guys can't comprehend, if you diehard Stormgate players cannot comprehend that this game feels bad because you're constantly giving commands that don't properly get issued, then I don't know what else to say. Like that's a huge deal to me. As a veteran RTS player, I prefer not to babysit every inch of my playstyle. But there we have it. I have nothing else to say to you guys. Like if the game is still going to play like that, then I'm just not going to play it. If the game was fun, it would have gotten more than 1,000 players when they launched the campaign. And it's as simple as that. These guys literally told everybody that they were the ones who helped make SC2 and that they were going to make a successor to SC2. And then to come to the table with SC2 0.2, like we're not going to make jokes about it, is just crazy. Like as a community collectively, you have to admit that this is just so sad at this point that it's kind of funny. And if anything, all of these reviews from content creators and the discussion on Twitter and Reddit and the YouTube comments, like if anything, it'll serve as a tool for anybody in the future who wants to try to make an RTS game. Now they know like what we expect and like what we're not going to accept. So yeah, peace out, guys. I'm done for now.